To be successful in this business, you have to get into the arena. Speaking is a profession. Whether you are an aspiring or established professional speaker, a subject matter expert, using speaking to grow your business, or ensuring that your voice can ignite a movement and a charity, this is a profession. You cannot wish success into being. Well, this particular episode, it should be relatively short and sharp and maybe not quite so sweet. In the last solo episode, I spoke into the missing ingredient for most speaking breakthroughs, the ability to become wildly compelling. But there is one thing that I've always known to be true, and I speak about it often. To be successful in this business, you have to get into the arena. Speaking is a profession. Whether you are an aspiring or established professional speaker, a subject matter expert, using speaking to grow your business, or ensuring that your voice can ignite a movement and a charity, this is a profession. You cannot wish success into being. This has been a favorite rant of mine for almost the entire 8 years as I've specifically moved into focusing on this space of speaking-driven strategy. You cannot wish success into being. You have to get into the arena. You have to do the reps, and you are going to have to do it anyway. This has been a thread, as I've said, through every single thing I've spoken about in the last 8 years, and now it's showing up in every single conversation with my podcast guests, those successful speakers and experts who have so generously given of their time and experience so far. I can tell you right now, it's showing up as well in the episodes that I'm currently recording and the ones that we're locking in. So much so that it is universal. It is proving itself completely to be universal, no matter the experience, no matter the background, no matter the current position, no matter the current lane, no matter the current markets, and it's actually showing up across every continent as well as I dive deeper into this. Elizabeth McCormick in episode 53 demonstrated this so incredibly clearly. Before she became one of the best motivational speakers in the world, before she became one of the most in-demand female speakers in the USA, Elizabeth spoke for PTAs and Rotary clubs. More than 120 Rotary clubs in the Dallas Metroplex, to be precise. And Rotary club presentations, they are usually no longer than 20 minutes. But Elizabeth didn't dismiss them as not being enough time to practice her full keynote. She chose to use them to repeatedly deliver her 2 key stories over and over again. She honed, she iterated, and she improved. She did the reps over and over again. And those 2 stories that she worked on during those Rotary presentations, the ones we usually overlook, they are now the opening and closing stories of her most in-demand keynote. And I have come to realize my own origin story of accidentally dropping into speaking, in spite of my absolute resistance to any form of speaking after taking over a family business, was not an accidental success. I grew up with a mother in politics who, as the owner of the family business I took over at the age of 29, had become the face of that business. She spoke at every single event she possibly could as she educated an entire market on what we did and why they should use us, because we were first to market in our location, which doesn't mean easy with no competition, as many people seem to. It means you first have to educate people to why they need you and more why they should pay you. On taking over that business from my mother, I had already been trained in the then infamous Morgan & Banks consulting sales system and knew how to sell consultatively. And if you're in Australia and you're of the Gen X age, you will know what I'm talking about. I had also been witness to my mother's political speaking. I'd even written some of her speeches in her largest campaign. And to her, using speaking as the only marketing tool available to her to grow a multi-million-dollar business was actually the example of entrepreneurship that I held. I was so deeply immersed in my knowledge of it all that when I first stepped into leading her business on her departure, I was able to train every single one of my key staff on how to speak so that I could send them out instead of having to do the speaking myself. And that was my ultimate goal, to never have to speak on a stage. So my accidental success, the first time that I was almost hoodwinked into speaking in front of a crowd of 200, it wasn't actually an accident. It was the culmination of immersion, coaching, witnessing, and being actively involved in helping others speak, right from the age of 21 when I wrote some of my mother's campaign speeches. The reps had been done. In the same way sporting greats use immersion and visualization to gain an unfair advantage, I had done the reps that way. But it's not just the reps. It's also about climbing the stairs, because quite frankly, some of you are doing the reps, but you're simply not going anywhere. You are not climbing the steps. You're not increasing frequency, increasing demand, or expanding your reach. You are quite literally not able to climb out of your own lunchbox. And it is what our guests today and the ones to speak into your lives in the weeks and months to come have done. They have done the reps and they have climbed the steps. And when I think about the guests so far, Elizabeth, David Avron, Simon Bowen, Dr. Kevin Fleming, Peter Merritt, Cy Wakeman, Shasta Nelson, Lisa McGinnis-Smith, and the incredible guests landing very, very soon, every one of these extraordinary speakers and experts began with a decision to show up long before the spotlight found them. Nobody knew their name when they started. They didn't start with complete clarity or certainty or applause, but with a single choice that they were going to do the reps, to consistently speak, to experiment, to practice and to learn. Their starting point was not defined by talent or celebrity, but by tenacity and a deep sense of curiosity. And at some stage, every single one of them faced external doubt and internal resistance, the questioning of their value, their uniqueness, whether their message would actually land. But they decided resistance wasn't a sign to stop. It was an invitation to step deeper. Not deeper into their message, but deeper into their craft before refining the message until they became impossible to ignore. They succeeded because they understood it took doing the reps and climbing the steps. So what is doing the reps really? It's consistently showing up, taking every opportunity, refining your skills in real time and putting in the work even when it's uncomfortable and not immediately rewarding. Lisa McGinnis-Smith, she advocates for consistent practice through volunteering and saying yes to every opportunity, ensuring that we show up and deliver value whenever we're in the room, whatever the stage. Dr. Kevin Fleming stressed the importance of relentless feedback. He actively seeks candid, sometimes uncomfortable insights to constantly refine his message and his impact. Shasta Nelson shows the power of continuous educational outreach, consistently speaking and fighting for her message even before the corporate world fully embraced it. Having watched my mother, her methodology and the way that she had to educate that market first deeply resonated with me for so many reasons. Cy Wakeman, the most unassuming global speaking superstar there is. Cy's conversation deepened my understanding of the strength of continuous new research and testing of new ideas. She also really brought home the power and consistency when challenging accepted norms. Don't keep flipping because you're worried about the market. Stay true to who you are. David Avron, he is insanely passionate about a different set of reps, consistent strategic outreach, continuous prospecting, daily intentional communication, and relentless follow-up to ensure consistent flow of speaking engagements across a multi-decade international career. But doing the reps without climbing the steps will be soul-destroying. And I have a feeling many of you listening are going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Climbing the steps is only achievable through constant improvement, continual honing of your message, leaning into audience and organizer feedback. In a nutshell, it is continuous incremental improvement. And this is because you cannot change the world from the bottom of the mountain. You have to climb the steps up the side of the mountain. And every single one of our guests have deeply understood this. Even after decades in this industry, Lisa McGinnis-Smith invests continually in expert feedback and education to deliberately improve her speaking skills and enhance her audience engagement. She's a global Speakers Hall of Fame inductee, and she still does this. Dr. Kevin Fleming is very clear that intentional, iterative, and often small strategic shifts like language tweaks and focus marketing will open doors and expand professional reach far beyond anything you imagined. Then there's Peter Merritt's personal philosophy that no single keynote or event is ever the end point. Rather, each provides another step forward toward refined mastery and deeper audience impact. And we can all take a leaf out of David Avron's book. His relentlessness in refining business practices, pricing strategies, and marketing effectiveness is unequaled because he knows that speaking itself is a product that requires constant iterative improvement. And here is what I want you to know as we close this out. The world listens when you do the reps that others avoid, when you speak through the lens only you have and commit to the iterative improvement that only you can bring. In the words of one of our first guests, Carmine Gallo, if you're a speaker, then speak. Go do it. Do the reps. Climb the steps because your speaking future is waiting to be created and not discovered.